How do you structure a novel?
For me, I don't pay a lot of mind to classic structure rules. I think, if you're going for a very traditional, kind of classic fiction book, maybe that would apply more. Maybe you're trying to go for the hero's journey or something like that. But I feel like people are already inclined to kind of follow some structure naturally, and you will find that it either is making sense to you or it's not making sense to you. And so I try to be a little more organic about how I approach structure, and I will kind of do a brief overview of like roughly when should this happen. Like I want to give myself time to, close out kind of after the big climax sort of thing. So you're obviously not going to have that at the end, but if you have that in the middle, you're going to have, a lot of space where you don't know what to do with that space. So I try to be kind of free form and then occasionally take a look at the big picture and make sure that the big picture is still making sense. It still feels like the pacing is right, and it's not feeling like, oh, why did this suddenly end up, a third of the way into the book when it should be somewhere in the middle? And usually I think those things come naturally to me. And it's also because I write a lot of serial fiction, which means that people are reading, frequently updated things, and they're reading once a week and things like that. I don't think I have to conform to those rules as much, because there's a sense of it being more like a television show structure, or something that has more breathing room, something that goes on for longer, so you can kind of have these longer arcs that don't have the clear set points along the way, and readers are more open to that when it's in that serial structure.
And then when you stumbled upon After on Wattpad, did that give you freedom to be like, if this person is not really writing within a certain structure, and maybe they were, I don't know, but it seems like they weren't. It was different. And this works, and I'm enjoying this, and other people obviously are too, that I don't have to be bound by that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I've learned so much from reading novice authors, be it on Wattpad, Inkit is another site, but any of these places where you're engaging with people who are not strictly in this field, trained in this field, you are going to find these interesting things that they're doing, and you're going to see exactly what it looks like when you break the rules. And sometimes you break the rules and it doesn't work, and you go, oh, that's why we have the rule, now I know. But a lot of times you go, oh, you know what? Maybe that wasn't all that necessary. Or maybe there's a way to do this where I can, find the loophole, find a way around this rule that I don't necessarily like or that I feel constrained by. And I think that's kind of been the key for me, is anytime I felt constrained by something, anytime I felt like, oh, I wish I could do this, or if only I didn't have to do it this certain way, I have to kind of push back. And that's where I think these novice authors, they don't know that they're pushing back, and they are. And I learned from them that when you do push back on those, a lot of times you create better work. So in the case of, structure, do I have to follow the hero's journey? Do I have to, have the curves and try to figure that all out? I didn't like doing that. I didn't enjoy it. It felt forced. It felt like I was trying to, fit a square peg into a round hole. And that's the perfect opportunity to go, wait, do I need to do this? Why am I doing this? Is it actually helping me, or is it hindering me? And nowadays, when I see those things that I kind of naturally feel like, oh, I don't love doing this, this isn't the part that makes me happy, I immediately ask myself, do I need to do this? Have I seen it done successfully without this? And a lot of times the answer is yes. And I think, readers, they don't care much about if you're following the rules. They care about the experience. They care about what's enjoyable to them. And if you're hitting those notes, then it doesn't really matter so much if you're following the rules or breaking them, as long as you are kind of writing in a way that feels natural and honest to you.
What structure do you use to write, especially when you have some books that have over 50 chapters?
I tend to have initially I have a vague outline, but it is vague, and I have a habit of adding in more chapters along the way because my husband often will ask me, oh, how many chapters do you have left in your book? And I'll say 10. And then he'll ask me 3 chapters later and I'll say 10. And I think what's nice about the serial format is it does kind of give you the permission to put more stuff out there than you otherwise would in an edited book. You have to keep to a certain page count. You have to be concerned with printing and things like that. And for me, I've found that I kind of see it as episodes of television or anything else where there should be, a minor arc and then this major arc throughout the whole thing. But any individual chapter has something happening, something going on, that is the specific plot of that chapter or episode equivalent. And I tend to end on what I didn't think were cliffhangers, but my readers have told me are cliffhangers. But basically I tend to end on kind of a quick preview into the next scene, something that tells you what's about to come. So, whether it's someone gets a phone call and that phone call tells them, oh, we have big news, I will end that chapter there. And then the next chapter will be dealing with that big news. And so there is kind of that similar, episodic structure of the small plot, and then it's this big arc overall that you're doing while you're simultaneously oh, in this one, they're going ice skating and, learning how to skate or something like that, and it's this kind of little brief moment in time, and the readers really like those kind of, slice of life moments. But then there's always something I try to make sure in every chapter that is pushing the arc forward, pushing that big overarching plot into the next stage, whatever that may be, as well as having these little slice of my life moments and addressing the smaller, the smaller conflicts of the individual chapter.
And so with Wattpad, forgive me, I'm not totally certain how this works. You can put stuff in sort of draft form, looking for feedback?
So you can put in draft form, but people can't read your drafts. They're not live. But so what I tend to do is I get it to a place where I'm reasonably satisfied with it, and I'm enough chapters ahead that I feel confident that I'm not going to need to go back and make edits that will affect the future. And then I go ahead and post those, and everyone knows if it's live posting, it is unedited. And I usually have a little thing at the beginning. I'll say, this is live posting every week. I will post at a certain time, and it's not edited yet. Tell me if you see something. I'm a big proponent of, correct me, please. If you see an error, I want to know about it. And my readers are really great. They will happily tell me if I've missed punctuation or, if I've translated something wrong. It's kind of incredible to have this many eyes on your work and have them providing immediate feedback. But it's also they're very forgiving because they know it's live, because they know even though it's, like I said, not necessarily happening I'm writing it and then I'm immediately posting it, they know that it's a work in progress. They know that there's still work to be done on it. And some readers, they wait until it's done. They want to see the finished product, they want to read it all at once, and they want to have that, complete form. And some readers, they're like, I don't care if it's imperfect, I want to read it right now. And they have that option too. They can, jump in 5 seconds after it's posted and start reading.